Melissa, could you please read the public hearing notice?
Circleville City Council will hold a public hearing Tuesday, April 1st, 2025 at 6:30 PM in council chambers located in City Hall Building, 127 South Court Street, second floor, Circleville, Ohio, 43113. The public hearing will be to hear the following request. Preliminary Plan Unit Development 3-24 Wesley Commons, as requested by Randy Lovig, located at parcel ID A01-0-0-00-00-250-03 and A01-0-001-00-249-04, currently pending annexation to the city to be zoned planned unit development. A copy of the planning and zoning meeting minutes, map, and all pertinent data regarding the proposed changes are on file and available for public inspection at the Circleville Planning and Zoning Office, City Administration Building, located at 104 East Franklin Street, Circleville, Ohio.
Melissa, thank you very much. And this public notice was published in the normal media outlets that we use.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. To start the hearing now, I'd like to have Hannah Wynn come up to the podium. She's going to speak on behalf of the city related to the public hearing. So Hannah, welcome. And
Thank you. So yeah, just right off the bat, I want to clear up, this has been annexed already. The annexation was approved. I think when the notice was going out, it was earlier on in the process. So this is already annexed to the city. This is for the Wesley Commons planned unit development out by the Circleville City Schools campus, just off 22. We've got the applicants here that are going to go into a little bit more detail on what the project is, but just give you the report. The Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval on this with a unanimous 6-0 vote, and this also went to the joint Circleville Township, Circleville City Planning and Zoning Board due to the annexation agreement we have with them, and they also gave a unanimous recommendation for approval with a 4-0 vote on that. You all should have received a staff report from me that also goes into a bit more detail on this development. The one thing I want to point out is the site location on the second page is describing the Alto PUD. I did not update that correctly, so please disregard that section, but everything else is correct for this actual development. But those are kind of the highlights for me. I'll let them present what the actual project is, and then if you have any further questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Hannah, thank you for sending all that information out ahead of time for council to review at their leisure prior to tonight's public hearing. And of course, we'll use all those documents when it gets forwarded to committee. Thank you very much. Who would like to speak on behalf of the development? And if you could please raise your right hand, the clerk would like to swear you in.
Yep, absolutely.
State your name.
Gary Smith?
Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony given before this council of the city of Circleville shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Welcome to City Council. Go right ahead and tell us your representation to the project and give us a little bit about it.
I don't know if that'll come up here, but we need to turn those on. Okay. My name's Gary Smith. I'm the owner of G2 Planning and Design. I am here on behalf of Highland Real Estate. I'm the land planner, landscape architect for the project. Oh, it looks like maybe, there we go. We got something. Perfect. And I just wanted to take a second to, thank the council for giving us an opportunity to bring this here tonight. This has been, we've been working on this for a while. I just want to thank the city. We've gotten a lot of great help from the staff. I know Highland really appreciates all the collaboration. We had a great time working with the Planning Commission, and I think we're in really good shape to bring this in front of you folks here tonight. So the project itself, I'll try and be brief because I know we want to allow time for public comment and questions as well. But just a quick breakdown of the project. So this is called Wesley Commons. The location of this is out by Circleville High School, and it's also, right down the street from Ohio Christian University. It's right there, basically kind of at the newer intersection that's been installed and the roundabout that kind of comes around from the school. The site itself is 59.5 acres approximately, and it's really kind of cut in half by that existing road that kind of comes down through the middle of the project. So one side of the project's about 12 and a half acres. The other side of the project's about 42 acres. The project itself is going to be broken down into 4 distinct sub-areas. 2 of the sub-areas are going to be commercial. So you have sub-area A. I'll zoom in on this just a little bit. You have sub-area A, which is going to be classified as the neighborhood business district. And then you have sub-area B, which is the general business district. And those correspond, you'll notice those names correspond to the nomenclature in your zoning code because those are the permitted uses for each of those areas that we followed. Those 2 commercial areas are actually going to be retained by the property owner for the development, and they're going to retain those and market those commercial spaces. And then Highland Real Estate is going to take over the 2 residential sub-areas, which are sub-area C and sub-area D. Sub-area C is a paired home product or a duplex product, what we typically call. And then sub-area D is a single-family home product. And to kind of give you a general sense of what that looks like, we have a more kind of detailed layout what that looks like. So we've got a road that comes in from the roundabout and works its way back over and then provides a stub connection to the property that Ohio Christian University owns behind them. And so that at some point in time when they choose to do something with that property, they have road access. So we're building that road through the project, and that really separates our 2 sub-areas. So on the north side, as I mentioned, we have a loop of single-family homes. And then on the south side, we have kind of a loop of duplex homes. And the duplex homes really have 2 different products. It's pretty unique in the marketplace. There is a ranch duplex, and then they have a 2-story duplex that's mixed in there as well. And I've got some architectural examples of that. Open space essentially through the middle. So a lot of those homes, back up to that open space, back up to the pond. Those will be wet retention ponds. They'll have either a fountain or a bubbler in them to make sure that water doesn't get stagnant. They'll have walking paths around the pond, for recreation and activity. And it's a mix, again, of different lot sizes. So we have 52-foot lots, 40-foot lots, 60-foot and 68-foot lots for the duplex. And it's a total of 170 dwelling units in both residential portions. This is just a quick look at the illustrative. One of the things that we're doing also as part of the project is we've been asked to make a connection, a trail connection, all the way up to the trail that kind of runs across the top of the school from Ohio Christian University. So we've worked on securing an easement from the city school district and are going to extend a trail all the way up the side of the school's property from the project. So this will be ultimately connected up to that pathway system as part of the development. Landscaping, as you can see, we've got landscaping kind of throughout, obviously street trees around all of the streets. Did you have a question? I'm sorry.
Just a quickie, is that school property on either side of the new trail you're going to blaze, if you will?
So this is right at the edge of the school's property. The school's property line is right here. And then everything on this side is OCU's property. And then this is the city school's property on this side.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then real quick, so you can just see kind of the open space areas, the path that runs through. We're also going to bring that path along the road frontage and over to the school's property, as well as kind of through the open space areas around the pond areas. This is just an example of the landscaping. We'll have some additional buffering kind of along the roadway areas to buffer those houses from the road and the roundabout. We'll have street trees, and then we'll have some landscaping and some trees in that open space area to add some interest there. As with any new development, we are now no longer in an era where the post office serves individual mailboxes at street addresses. Every new subdivided project has to include a gang mailbox, whether it's apartments, townhomes, single family. So we'll have mailbox locations. We're going to use decorative mailboxes. They'll have a sloped cap so that, you know, people don't leave their coffee sitting on top of the mailbox, junk it up. We'll also have a couple of signs or a sign out at the front. And here's an example of what the signs. We're given the builders two options for signs. One is just a typical kind of yard arm sign, and then the other one is a small monument. Here's some examples of the architecture. So the single family is really going to be a mix of ranch homes and two-story homes. They want to be able to offer both to buyers. And so here's some examples of the architecture for the ranch homes and the single family home, or the two-story homes from Fisher Homes. And then here's another one. We got quite a few of them. And then there's another one. I'll get to the duplex homes here in a second. And you can see they've got quite a range of facade treatments that they use for each floor plan. So that helps them also kind of make sure that there's some architectural diversity throughout the community, so you don't have a lot of houses ultimately that end up looking the same. Okay, let me get to this. There we go. Now we're starting in the duplex. So this is an example of the two-story duplex. These are paired homes. And then got some single-story paired homes in here as well. The only thing that, I bring this up, the only thing that we have run into since we've been to planning commissions, we have one small change that we need to ask for the council's consideration. We have, and I talked to Hannah about this a little bit, and we had a couple of different options for how to approach this, but kind of as we work through our process, the builder has been kind of working on kind of improving their footprint. And what they've done as they work to kind of improve their interior spaces and, make their homes more attractive is they've actually increased the depth of their homes while we were in process. And so this affects only the duplex lots. So just to go back to what we're showing you here, get back to the plan. So this really affects only the lots in this area here. So these are the duplex homes. And so the houses have gotten deeper. And so we have one of two options. We can go back in and we can change all of the plans to make the lots all 5 foot deeper. Or I think a simpler method, and this is what Hannah and I talked about, was just asking for a change from what we sent to the Planning Commission, which was a 20-foot rear setback to a 15-foot rear setback. And from our standpoint, the duplex homes, it's not really the same as kind of a single-family home. The way the duplex homes are kind of treated, they're not like a single-family home where you kind of need a bigger backyard, those kind of things, or you might fence in the backyard. You never really actually see where the lot line is on the duplex homes because they're all maintained in common. So, they don't really have a traditional backyard in that sense. So even though we're reducing the rear yard setback, it's only kind of a function of what ends up being on the plat and not really what you end up kind of seeing in the real world. So we were hoping that that was something that, the board would be amenable to, or I'm sorry, the council would be amenable to. And we have some language in the code, a real simple change in the development text. And I've given Hannah a copy of that. So you guys can act on it if you wish.
So Gary, I'll speak to that. I will let Hannah work with the law director on how that gets added into any legislation to be
Okay.
considered. Okay.
Mhm.
We won't be able to say yes or no this evening, but
Sure.
eventually when legislation goes through the committee process, we can consider that at that time.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. We were just trying to find kind of the easiest way to kind of deal with it, to make sure that the builder could, incorporate, their newest footprint. So we greatly appreciate all of that consideration. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions that the council may have, and, we can then turn it over to any public comment if you want.
Real quick. So our code does kind of explain how we go about this situation if there has been a change made since the planning commission voted on this. So pretty much what we'll do is just take a clean copy of the development text with that change made. And when you guys vote to approve or deny this application, it would just take a supermajority vote, a 6 out of 7, to approve it because there's been a change since the planning commission.
To approve just that change or the whole thing.
The whole thing,
Okay.
including that change, yeah.
So we need a super majority to pass with the change.
Mhm.
Okay. We'll revisit that again when appropriate time. So Gary, thank you for your comments at this time. Questions?
Thank you, President Keller. I just have a couple. I know you had said, so Fisher Homes is a developer, or is the,
Fisher Homes is a
Builder.
builder.
Yep.
Mhm.
and then you said 170 total units. That's between the single family dwellings and the duplex.
Correct.
And then is pretty even 50-50 split between single family?
It is 92 duplex homes. So it's 54 and 38 units of the different sizes. And then it is 78. So there's a few more of the duplex than there are of the single family.
And do you have any idea what the price point will be?
They haven't given us an exact price point. I would imagine that it's almost impossible for me to imagine that these things will be less than 300. I'm not sure that you can develop land and build a house for less than 300. I would imagine that the single family would probably start in the 325 and 350 and go up. The duplexes are probably going to start maybe a little bit less than that and go up depending on how they're optioned.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Tom?
Just a quick question.
Uh-huh.
Are they going to offer all of those models that you showed?
That's my understanding, that they intend to offer a full range of their product to
That means,
buyers.
like, everybody gets a new model. I'm just saying there's a lot of them there.
Well, there's a potential there for a lot of architectural diversity. What typically happens in a lot of these subdivisions is you'll see that buyers have their favorites. So, they may like a particular model. Most people may like a particular model because of the way that it lays out inside or because of the square footage that they're looking for. So you might see a more heavy weighting towards 2 or 3 different models. But then, the rest of those models will be available if they fit, a buyer's preference a little bit better.
Thank you.
Audrey, go ahead.
So in previous hearings, the couple that I've been to, there's always the question about fences in the backyard.
Yeah,
That's possible in the houses,
in
probably,
the single family, yeah.
but not the duplexes.
I would imagine not the duplex, only because, again, those are maintained typically in common, kind of like a townhome,
Yeah.
where, they have a mowing company come in and take care of all of it. So they don't want to have to mow around fences and all of those things. In terms of containment of the yard, they might have, some privacy fencing around the patio itself, but not out kind of around the lot, is what I would expect.
So if you have a dog,
Mm-hmm.
you would probably not be able to.
Well, I mean, in that
And-
instance, you could do an invisible fence, or, a lot of those folks might just get up and take their dog for a walk in the morning.
So there's not in some of these, I'm surprised in some of the places that I've lived, where they have a pet park or something.
Yeah.
Because they don't want the fences, but you don't have that.
Yeah, we don't have a dog park plan now. We did leave the opportunity in those open spaces for further development of those open spaces as the homeowners association gets established. Because what happens sometimes in a lot of these communities is that they'll come in, they'll start selling, and they'll get feedback from their buyers that, hey, I'd like to buy here, but I'd like to see some more amenities. So they may come back and say, okay, well, we need to put a few more amenities into the development. So we allowed actually in the text for the opportunity for the developer to come back in and install some of those amenities, but it's going to be based primarily on buyer preference.
And then any idea about the HOA cost?
That I don't know. A lot of that is just really dependent on kind of the cost of the maintenance of the open space and the ponds and those kind of things. And then obviously spread out by the total number of lots. So I don't really have any way of kind of estimating that for you now. But I think their hope is obviously that they can keep those costs down because they want to be able to provide some housing options that, are pretty sorely needed in the community.
Thank you, Gary.
Absolutely.
At this time, we'll open up for any public comment. Again, I'll remind anyone you're welcome to come to the podium and make a comment related to this project. Your comments will be recorded. You will have a 3-minute time limit. Does anybody like to come to the podium to speak on this comment? While we're waiting to see, I will tell you the next steps are, of course, there'll have to be legislation drafted to allow the rezoning. That will go through the Judicial Committee chaired by Mr. Tom Klitschko. So once the legislation is prepared and ready, he can then determine when the meeting will be, and we'll notify the public again, as well as the developers. At that time, it'll be a committee discussion. We will not take public comment related to this project. That's why we're having a public hearing, to allow the public a chance to speak. Okay. So we just got about a few minutes before 7. Any final comments from the developer since there's no public comment, or are y'all?
No, thank you very much for the opportunity to kind of unveil this to the council. And we're just excited to hopefully get this thing, moving.
Sure. And just, I'm sure Hannah will be in contact with you when that meeting is set, Gary, so you can be there just in case there's a question from one of the committee members or council members.
Yep. If I can't be there, I know one of the Highland members will be there. So
Okay. Thank you.
in my life, there's a lot of meetings.
Yeah, sure.
Do you want me to leave this up for any future discussion or? Okay.
We have somebody wants to make a comment here, so we'll let this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Please give us your name and your address.
It's William Haddix from 531 East Union.
Please raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony given before this council of the city of Circleville shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
William, your comment related to this project.
yes. My
Oh,
question,
William, speak to us.
Oh, you-
Speak to us.
question was, with being so close to the school and the walking paths that he was talking about, has any consideration been given to like security as far as the school is concerned? That's going to be a lot of extra traffic, people being closer to the school, whether the school's open or not. And then a lot of things play into that as far as, we are a constitutional carry state as far as firearms is concerned. And walking on the paths, if they cross into school territory, or just the increase in people in general. I didn't know if any consideration had been given with that concerning relationship to, how close the school is.
Okay. Thank you for comment. Well, no, I'll be taking under consideration. Okay, anyone else? I entertain a motion to close the public hearing. So moved by Katie Hedges, seconded by John Moats. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The public hearing is closed at 6:54 PM. City Council will start at 7 o'clock.